This week in history.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
All right, Johnny, this week is a World War II special-ish.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just all World War II stuff because
Great.
I was really lazy and it was easy for me to do. And
And
I'm gonna
World War
plug
II happened every week, so why not
pretty
talk
much.
about it
Well,
now?
and I'm going to plug this with if you really want to know more, just go to World War II in history because they did a way better job of this than I did, and they focus on the So first
No,
off,
don't do that. Don't go anywhere else. First of all, you're great right here. You'll learn everything you need to know.
it's subscribe and share.
Also, it's important that we talk about World War II because for the avid listeners of our weekly podcast,
Yeah, we didn't talk
we
about
did
Hitler
not
in the weekly episode. Yeah,
we didn't mention him once.
well, we're going to mention them this time.
So here we go. Let's do it.
So on December 7th, 1941, at 7:48 in the morning, the Japanese Imperial Navy attacks the U.S. forces at Pearl Harbor. Never forget.
They did what?
They did what? Yeah, they bombed the shit out of us in Pearl Harbor.
Why would the Japanese do such a thing?
Well, because they needed us. They needed our Navy out of the action so that they could start taking all these islands in the South Pacific.
Worked out for them, didn't it?
Initially, yes, really well actually, and then they forgot that there's like millions of us, and we have an industrial manufacturing that could not be met by anybody else.
Yeah,
so
and they're a tiny island nation.
yeah,
filled
you
with
blew up a couple
samurai.
of boats. Yeah, you blew up a couple of boats. We've got like 20 more in the pipeline.
Yeah,
So-
they're filled with samurai and people willing to crash into things to die for the emperor or whatever their leader was, and
And
like,
we're filled with
we're
rednecks
just
raving-
a real huge country, and
filled with a
we'll just
lot of
keep-
rednecks waving Confederate flags. So
Yeah, we're just gonna keep throwing money and people at this
Yeah.
until you give up. Oh, and also a couple of other things, but we'll get to that later. I'm sure.
Well, not in this episode.
No, yeah, down the line.
Down the line. We already covered two of those things that happened in a previous
Yeah.
This Week in History. But anyways, so I won't go into a lot of details about Pearl Harbor itself because, again, like, really do actually go. If you like this, go to World War II. They're not funny, but they're serious. But go over to World War II channel. He did a minute by minute of like what was going on for Pearl Harbor. It's really good.
That's
go
a
watch
wild stuff, like thinking about the radio transmissions and everything.
that,
People trying to figure out what happened,
He does it-
what was going on.
I think he does it in like 10-minute segments. There's like
Sure.
20 different parts or something like that. It's honestly really good.
Sounds like a lot of work for that dude. Go check him out.
No, they get paid and they have a huge production company, and so
Oh, good for them. Must be
Yeah.
nice.
They made it. Maybe one day. First, the things that I do want to highlight about Pearl Harbor is that we don't talk about a lot. Is that there were actually warnings before the attack happened.
What?
Like
Okay, wait, because that's another thing we don't talk about a lot about. And I'm sorry, I know this is not this week, but with the bombings in Japan, we don't talk about the warnings that the U.S. dropped. There was something similar, or no?
No.
We just had intel or something.
We should have known something was about ready to happen. 'Cause
Okay.
First off, like the day before the attack, all of a sudden Japanese radio transmissions go to nothing. Like up to this point, we were in negotiations with Japan because we are neutral.
Yeah.
We are trying to make negotiations with Japan because Japan's like, we need oil because we're kind of landlocked. We're not landlocked, but like island locked, water locked.
They're an island.
They kind of needed oil. We've embargoed them, so there was some negotiations going on. And we embargoed them because they're like, we need more islands, and we're like, do you though?
Yeah.
Do you?
Like you're an
Figure
island
out-
nation, like with
figure out
islands
China
coming off
first.
you.
Yeah, figure out China first. You already invaded them. But in any case, so right off the bat, radio silence from Japan. Like that should have been the first warning of like why all of a sudden.
Yeah. Why
Has
did they
everything
all
been
go
cut off?
dark? Yeah. Why
Yeah.
are they suddenly dark on the
There
radar?
was radar, which was new technology at this time, but radar signals showed the incoming planes. And there was some dude who saw it and said, "Hey, Commander, look at that. Ah, no, it's B-17s." They weren't our planes, but he thought they were our planes coming from the opposite direction.
But there was radio transmission, right?
Yeah, of B-17s, you should have been able to get them.
Couldn't
Hey,
have been like, is this you?
there's this big cloud of nope, that wasn't done.
Nope, we're
Just-
over California right now. Sorry, over.
Just chalks it up to B-17s coming in from the mainland, there were one or two mini subs that were caught in the Pearl Harbor's exterior net. Like we had a net around Pearl Harbor, like a literal net underwater, and caught a couple of subs like first thing in the morning, and was like, that should have been it. Like, why are there like these two little mini midget subs can't make it all the way out here on their own?
Hey guys,
like, that should have been a sign.
Where'd you come from? What you doing? Why you here?
And to make matters worse, why this attack was so devastating, because you think, like, it's still a military installation, and why weren't they able to protect themselves with anti-aircrafts and that kind of stuff? Pearl Harbor was also a civilian port, so while in port, all the vessels were not allowed to have the guns loaded, and all the ammunition had to be locked in their armories in the boats.
Now, see, that was going to be my question. My question was going to be, suppose captain who got orders of, hey, weird ships, weird planes coming in.
They could have loaded it.
Yeah, what would that have done as far as our preparation and the results of what ended up happening?
What should have happened? Yeah, what should have happened is that radar transmission, which wouldn't have given you a lot of time, but it would have given you enough time to load the guns, like get the armory open, get the ammunition up, load the guns, prepare. And
because that takes probably, I would imagine, from go to loaded, that would take 10 minutes.
10 minutes or so, assuming the guy who has the key is like readily available. But when your ship is being actively, like when your warning is that first bomb that hits the boat,
you can't do anything.
Now you gotta find Cletus who has the key and get him to like get the and get up until we can start defending. So
and really hope that bomb didn't hit him or, his path.
Yeah. So that first wave really went largely unimpeded. Like there wasn't like from any of the outlining, because and we also don't talk about, like we talk about the harbor itself, but they attacked all of Hawaii, specifically the outlining. They first started hitting the air bases on the outlining area to knock them out so that they couldn't scramble planes to fight against.
They spiraled from the outside in.
Yeah, pretty much.
And now this was a bombing of Pearl Harbor exclusively, or were they using kamikaze pilots at this point?
No kamikaze yet.
They had not existed yet, right? That was not a thing until later in the war.
Yep, that was desperation.
This was all just a bombing.
This is bombing
the ships. Okay.
Now, if the plane was going down, but Americans did this too. If your plane was going down,
right, you crash into something.
If you had the ability to kind of like aim it
but the idea of you're a pilot and you're gonna
specifically
you're doing, only job, crash into that.
Which, by the way, that actually, we might talk about that later as an idea. It was a stupid idea because it didn't, like, the amount of successful...
Don't say!
Well, no, it's like, it's not even, it's like the amount of successful, like, hits
impacts
from a kamikaze, like,
anti-aircraft guns existed then, right?
It was dumb. Yes, it was dumb, yeah.
And so it's like, it's coming right. It's a South Park episode. It's coming for us. Yeah.
I mean,
and now it's not anymore.
Yeah, it was just dumb. Anyways, so total casualties from both sides of this battle. The U.S. lost 4 battleships sunk, 4 battleships damaged, 1 ex-battleship sunk, and ex-battleship means it was a battleship in World War I, but it is now not, like, it's more like a destroyer class now, because what our battleships were in World War I aren't what they were in World War II. Like,
okay,
it's an old ship.
It was an old ship. They were just like, it's still working, I guess.
Yeah, it'll still work. It's not as good as a modern battleship.
Right.
1 harbor tug sunk, so 1 poor little tugboat got sunk.
Oh, what? Wait,
was
that civilian? Was that civilian?
Well, no, it's military, but still, it sucks if you're that guy in that tugboat. Like, damn it.
I mean, it'd be way worse if it was
How'd you even see me? Why did you waste your arsenal on me?
I mean, yeah, but imagine if it was like a civilian's tugboat, and they're just like, oh, man, like, that was my livelihood. Like, I was a tugboat driver.
3 cruisers are going to be damaged. 3 destroyers are going to be damaged. 3 other ships are damaged. Those are just like transports, various odds and ends. 188 aircraft are destroyed. The vast majority of them were destroyed on the ground.
Yeah, I was going to say that's probably just because they destroyed an aircraft carrier.
Well,
right?
no, not a carrier. No, 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 no,
Or
no.
no, this was when they got to
This is the
mainland.
basis. This is the mainland basis.
Okay.
Well, mainland Hawaii, not mainland.
Right.
But yes, yeah, in Hawaii. Because and I'll get there. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Take your time.
159 aircraft are damaged. 2,335 are killed. 143 are wounded. For the Japanese, they lost 4 midget submarines. 1 midget submarine was grounded, so like that group just hit. Oops.
They ran into something.
They landed into the beach.
Oh,
Oops.
sorry, Hawaii. I guess we live here now.
We missed it. They would, and this is what's not taught. Like you don't think that the Japanese lost anything, but they lost 29 aircraft were destroyed, 74 aircraft were damaged, 64 killed, and 1 sailor was captured. That sailor being one of the midget,
Now,
the midget beachers.
You say that we don't learn about it, but I think isn't it because it doesn't matter, right? They attacked us, so
Well,
they're the
no,
bad
but-
guys, and only Americans that have died.
But
matter.
like when we're taught it in school, it's almost like it was a complete successful sneak
Right, yeah,
attack
no, they
and
swept
we
in,
did-
they bombed us, and they left, and nobody died on their end.
yeah, but that's
Is
not,
how we're taught.
yeah, that's not true.
But it was actually
we weren't able
more.
to
It was
scramble.
more. So what you're saying, it was more of a battle than
Well, it
we
was still
make it
kind of-
out to be. Then
was
we
still
make
kind
it
of
out to be. Not it was a fair, complete battle, but
Now-
like we did something.
Now you mentioned the aircraft carriers, and this is where the
Yeah.
conspiracy theories come into place. Like
Wait,
did-
there's conspiracy theories
Yeah,
surrounding
there's-
Pearl Harbor. I mean, of course there are, but
yeah,
what?
the major conspiracy theory is that FDR knew the attack was coming and just let it happen because he wanted to get the United States into the war, which may have merit, may not have merit. And the part of the reason
Because
why
he's just
that
looking to
has-
get into war, or because he thought there were other reasons we should be in war
well,
and looking
World
for an
War-
excuse.
Yeah, World War II has gone on for several
Yeah.
years.
Probably we should do
He
something
sees
about
the
it.
writing on the wall, like we're going to get involved at some point. So, like this will be a good reason too. And the reason why that conspiracy theory has some merit is the fact that the aircraft carriers, the most key important ships that the Japanese
You're right.
actually wanted to get,
Yeah.
were not in the harbor. So
Where were
they
they?
weren't. They were out on patrol. They weren't
Oh,
in the
just
harbor.
happened to be out on patrol?
Yeah. So
Just
that's
happened
the-
to be out on patrol the
Yeah.
day that they saw all these little mini subs.
So
and the
from
day
a-
that they, all right, I get
So
it.
from a Japanese standpoint, the point of Pearl Harbor was to knock out the Pacific Fleet to make it inoperable. In some regards, it's a success because it was a successful sneak attack, although they call off the third wave because they realize at that point they're waiting for us. The planes that haven't been shot down are up in the
Right,
air.
yeah. So by the time the
aircraft
third
guns
wave,
are armed.
yeah, by
It
the
would
time
have
the third
been-
wave hits, they're like, oh, they've loaded their guns and now they're firing them
Yeah,
back at
the
us.
the second wave is where most of the damage to the Japanese happened.
And so, and that's why they called off the third wave, because first wave successful, second wave now they're fighting back. Don't send a third wave
Yeah.
because it's going to be a losing battle.
Yeah, pretty
It's
much.
basically where they were at.
And so it's successful in that, like, yes, you knocked out some battleships, you knocked out the fleet, you crippled the fleet, you did cripple the fleet, but you got none of the aircraft carriers, which is what was important because
Right.
at this time, I think Japan, don't quote me on this, I think Japan had like 8 or 9 total aircraft carriers, and that was it.
Yeah.
And so it was imperative to knock out what we had before we entered the war, because once we entered the war, they knew we're going to build and ramp up,
Right.
and they're limited. Like,
Yeah, they want
for
to start
every one-
crippling us at the beginning.
Yeah, for every one that they get, like, we're going to produce like 10.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and also they are an island nation, and if you want to attack them, it's via boat or via plane, right?
yeah. And,
Like you're
and
either
they
going to
also-
bomb them or you're going to go in there with a ship and
I can't-
infiltrate.
I can't stress it enough. Not that it was already over, but when they attacked us, it was almost already over. Like, they were finite on supplies. They attacked us
Right.
so that they could go take more islands to get more supplies.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've always heard this as, is it's a last ditch effort by the Japanese to basically
To maintain their empire, yeah.
to remain relevant. For
Because
lack
what we're
of better
also
words, but
what we're also not taught is their war in China. They never took over China
no,
like,
and do you want to know why?
because
I know why.
in Chinese.
No, I know what, Tom. I don't watch a lot of movies, but the movies I do watch are kung fu movies, and the reason that they never took over China is exclusively because Chinese kung fu is better than Japanese kung fu.
Yeah, don't actually watch. There's that new Mulan. We're getting way off track, but there's that new Mulan movie,
Yeah,
and
garbage.
they're doing all the Chinese kung fu, which is garbage. And
No,
there's
Chinese
a
kung fu is good kung fu.
yeah, it's
It's the
garbage.
Japanese
Uh,
stuff.
and there's a Chinese martial artist who debunks all the traditional Chinese martial arts and shows how it's not practical in an actual like combat scenario,
Right.
and it's a complete waste of time. And he's now been like ousted from China because like you can't speak bad about China when you're
Okay.
Chinese.
Well, real quick side note, Tom, feel free to cut this out. Um,
I'm not gonna.
but the reason all of this is the case is because people look at kung fu, and the reason like wushu kung fu is so popular, that's like where they do all the flips and they do the kicks and they do all this other stuff.
Crouching Tiger,
They
Hidden Dragon.
they love that shit, and it's because it's a performance, it's gymnastics, right?
Yeah.
But like kung fu, the forms, the everything involved with kung fu is not a recipe for how you fight. The idea behind all of the forms, all
Is it
of the
discipline?
postures, everything else is you are centering yourself. You're collecting like, and there's like a lot of chi stuff and energy stuff that goes into it. But basically it's posture. It's form and function. And so the idea of, oh, I have this kata and it does this and it does this and it does this and that's my combination. Like, that's insane. That's senseless.
Johnny is by the way, if you don't know Johnny at home, he is a second degree black belt in third. Third.
I'm a third
Third
degree.
degree. I'm sorry.
Third degree. But it doesn't.
And
but in any
Kung
case,
Fu, right? Kung Fu? Kung Fu?
Wagamishi Shirai Kempo, but it's like a blended martial art of like some kung
Third degree
fu,
black
some
belt.
Japanese.
He broke a couple of my
martial arts
ribs because he's not a very good teacher.
on accident. But in any case, but like all of that, like it's more like a
You want to know when that fell out of fashion and should have fallen out of fashion for good?
50s.
When gunpowder came out.
Oh, so like 1950s or 1850s. I mean,
or like
Except-
the
I don't know when that was.
1500s.
Is that when it came out? Holy
Or it's actually
shit.
even gunpowder goes all the way back to like 1000. John.
Yeah, and so see, that's the whole Chinese Japanese big problem. There is they're like, oh, my kung fu is better than your kung fu, and blah blah blah, this that or the other. When really they should have been like, oh, my kung fu is better. And then that's
Well,
it.
so in World War II, it was lots of bangy, shooty, and there happened to be a hell of a lot more Chinese. The only reason why they were as successful in China as they were was because the Chinese were fighting themselves. Right before Japan invaded, you had the national Chinese, the
Right.
non-communists,
Yeah.
fighting the communist Chinese.
Right. They had
and-
a sort of uprising.
yeah.
going
and
on
then Japan, yeah, but anyway,
along
we've gotten way
invasion.
the hell off base.
That didn't
Now,
happen this week.
No, that didn't happen this week. 10 hours after the attack on... This is going to be a long this week in history because we got drunk and rambled. 10 hours after the attack on Pearl Harbor, the Japanese would attack U.S. forces in the Philippines, which we also don't... Like, we tend to forget that, like, it wasn't just Pearl Harbor. They attacked the Philippine Islands right afterwards.
No, I'm sorry. We don't tend to forget that. I don't believe I was taught that.
You weren't
as
taught that because
a
that's what I mean. We tend to forget it because we don't
Indiana public high school education
We're taught
history.
Pearl
person.
Harbor, World War II is declared. Then we have like I don't know what's the next big thing. It begins with an M. Ah, damn it.
Marxism.
I know it's an island that we fight the Japanese, and it's a big. It's a big. I forgot it. It's gone. I'm too drunk. It doesn't matter.
Manakee.
No, it's not Manakee.
Mm,
I think it begins with an M.
I don't know, but anyway, the way I was
I don't know.
taught Pearl Harbor was the okay, so this is my American history high school education in Indiana, and I've done nothing else, but I was taught United States did not want to enter World War II.
Well,
United
we
States-
didn't. The population was split.
I'm telling you what I was taught.
All right.
United States was attacked by the evil Japanese during Pearl Harbor. The United States took that as a reason to enter World War II. We then defeated the dirty Nazis, bombed the heck out of the Japanese, and saved the entire world from the horrid nature of fascism and communism.
Yeah, that's about right.
That's it, right?
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, that's what we're taught. That's not what happens, but that's what we're
What?
taught. Yeah, so 10 hours after the attack on Pearl Harbor, the Japanese would invade the Philippines, which is a territory of the United States, because we like our territories.
And the Philippines is also a Pacific
Island, yeah.
but are they closer to Asia? Where is the Philippines located geographically?
Damn
Do
it,
you
Johnny, I
know?
don't do geography.
You didn't
My
even.
wife is
You
making
didn't.
me. You Google that shit. My wife is making me play trivia crack, and that's the worst subject I have is geography. Anyways, so the campaign in the Philippines would actually start off with Douglas MacArthur and the Navy, the fleet that's around the Philippines. They would leave by December 11th because they knew it was hopeless. They would leave at least 74,000 starving and undersupplied Americans to hold out, which help never arrived. There was always a hope, like, we would get help from Australia and retake the Philippines, but, like...
Okay, and here's why. Because I just looked up the geography of it all. I'm not sure. So the United States had dealings with the Philippines?
No, there was a territory for the
owned
Spanish-American
them?
War.
Or
Yeah.
something?
There's a territory, yeah.
The
got it
Philippines
when we beat
are
the Spanish.
just north of Indonesia. And I don't know, about 75% of the way south between Indonesia and South Korea and Japan. Japan's right next to South Korea.
Yeah, so we're not getting Philippines.
So like it's so and then
Anyways.
I see Hawaii over here. I'm looking at a map and then I see, like, look it up yourself. I see Hawaii over here chilling all by itself, freaking leagues away.
Yeah. Well, so those 74,000 starving and undersupplied Americans would actually hold out until April 9th, 1942, when they would surrender to the Japanese and start the whole Bataan Death March, which we do learn about in high school, and that's where the Japanese were really, really friendly to our POWs and didn't kill any of them at all.
No, the Japanese have always been known for their friendly, non-militant ways.
Yeah. In the Philippine campaign, it cost the Americans 25,000 killed, 20,000 wounded, and 100,000 captured, and a lot of those would not make it to the end of the war. On December 8th, FDR would give his famous speech, "Rest as a day that lives in infamy."
Yeah, he did that on this week.
Yeah, on December 8th.
All right.
Later that day, hours later, Congress would declare war on Japan. And the week would end with Germany, Adolf Hitler, declaring war on the U.S. on December 11th, 1942, for reasons. And I can't stress this enough. When the United States entered World War II, we only declared war initially on Japan because they were the only ones that attacked us.
Okay, now, wait. I'm sorry. You know all of this stuff. I don't.
Yeah.
Okay, and so I want to make sure that people understand. So, United States, we declared war on Japan. Did
Yes.
Japan and Germany have an ally?
Yeah, they were
An alliance.
Well, yes, they were what's called Axis powers. It was a very loose alliance between Nazi Germany and Japan. It
Okay,
wasn't an
so
alliance, but
now
it was a very loose alliance.
when you declare war on somebody who has an alliance with somebody else,
typically you declare war on that other party.
okay, but that's like a kind of understood thing. Like we didn't officially have to declare it.
Well, sort of, but so the Nazi Germany alliance with Japan was not, like, they weren't obligated to declare war on the United States when Japan did. They could have said, no, we're not doing it.
Right, yeah.
Which
yeah.
would have been the better reason for Japan.
But so,
we still would have gotten involved in the war.
Of course we were always going to get involved with everything, but I'm just talking about it just from a purely, like, rewind, go back there, go into the time type thing. The mentality of everybody involved with it. If we declared war on Japan.
Yes.
Then Germany declared war on us.
So by default we declare war back on Germany.
Obviously.
Yes.
Okay. But Germany,
well,
at that point,
Italy,
Germany, when we declared war on Japan, Germany could have been like, oh, well, let Japan deal with it.
They could have.
That's a thing. That's an option
that was an option they had, and they should have. Hitler should have.
Okay. Yeah.
Because what's going on right now in Nazi Germany is the invasion of Russia, which is now entering winter in Russia.
So now not only is he fighting a war in Europe
with
Russia, now he's like, yeah, why not? We'll get on board with the Pacific Ocean and the Americans.
Because that's not going to bite me in the ass in 2 years when they build up their military.
Well, I mean, to be fair, America had never done anything like that before. right? They didn't
Yeah,
have
we
any
didn't.
sort
We
of.
didn't build. We didn't build a 2 million man army in a year in 1917 to 1918
Wait, was
and
that
get our
world?
troops.
Was that whole First World War thing? Is that when we did that?
Mm-hmm.
And that was before this happened? And then they
And the thing,
still wanted to be like, oh, you know what? That
the thing is,
gigantic ass country with all of the resources and all of the manufacturing power in the world, we're gonna try to fight them.
and I can't stress this enough either. Hitler's just dumbness of him. Again, we
Well,
would have declared war on,
arrogance.
yeah, we would have declared war in Europe eventually, anyways.
Right.
But so in World War One, we had to build that 2 million man army from scratch.
Yeah, which is
In World War
which is
II
why the draft happened, right?
Yeah, yes, but in World War II, we didn't. We had already started the draft prior to Pearl Harbor. The draft had been going on for.
We had it.
Yeah, we already had a large. We were already building a large army.
Yeah.
We were already supplying with the Lend-Lease an ass ton of material to England. Well, not France anymore because they're gone, but to England and Russia.
Yeah.
Now you declare war on us. So now we're going to build that same crap for us and ship it over. Good luck.
Yeah, have fun, buds.
Like we didn't like. I'm not. Don't get me. I'm not an American patriot crap. Like with we won the. We didn't win the war. What won the war was our shit. Our
Yeah.
shit won that
Right.
war. Not our soldiers. Not our boots on the ground. Like the fact that we could produce 4 Sherman tanks to 1 German tank, whether that was
Yeah,
a Panzer or a
it
Tiger.
was literally Rosie the Riveter.
Rosie, you win
Like
at home.
that idea, that
Yeah.
mentality, that manufacturing in the United
Yeah, they did
States,
it.
that just full blown
And it's
everybody's involved. We're
it's
doing
that
it.
same. It's that same manufacturing from Russia that beat the Germans too, because once they got their shit going,
It's a numbers game.
it's numbers.
How many factories
again,
can you build on the land that you have? And
This
how
is
many
already-
people can you get to run that?
This is already a long this week in history, but I'm going to end it with just a hypothetical here. So we are Germany. Why did we declare war on the United States? Japan attacked it. Now, when Germany attacked Russia, the hope was that Japan would also attack Russia
Right,
from
yeah.
the other side. And
Close
had
it
they
in, yeah.
and had Japan done that, there is a possibility. Well, first of all, Japan could have gotten the resources they needed from Russia, assuming they were successful.
Right.
And had they done that as a sandwich,
Yeah, you close
they
it in.
might have
Bang.
been able to take over Russia.
Now all of a sudden you
But-
have mainland Japan.
But Japan didn't do that. And so when Japan didn't do that, why the hell did Hitler declare war on the United States when Japan attacked the United States? Like, they didn't back you up in Russia. Why the hell are they backing you up against the United States? These are 2 countries you probably should just leave alone.
No, I would imagine that Hitler's train of thought was more of America.
Methamphetamine's delicious.
Well, that and America's more of an attack on just their whole world view in general.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, well, if Japan's gonna go ahead and do it, we'll do it too. And like Hitler was cocky.
He was cocky.
Like you don't go into Russia in the winter.
Well, he didn't go in the winter. He started in the summer.
Okay, I'm
Late
sorry.
summer.
And then he stopped in August.
No, he kept going. He thought,
Oh.
well, we'll get there.
Oh, okay.
In a country that had no like
Did he?
Russia's lack of infrastructure was their biggest offensive strategy.
Well, yeah. What are you gonna
In that
destroy?
invasion.
What is there to take apart
Hey.
and make the country feel like, oh, we're under attack and this is awful? When
Your
you have a
tanks and-
shit country that just has nothing as
Your
far as
tanks and-
things go.
Yeah, your tanks and Kugelwagens and trucks,
Who
they're
gives a
really
shit?
awesome. They're really awesome, but can you like this is a dirt mud road. Good luck, fuckers.
Yeah, have fun, pals. Oh yeah. We don't pave stuff around here. This is communist
man.
Russia.
That went long. This is a long this week in history because we got on some tangents.
Well,
We've been
I'm
drinking a
sorry
bit too
about
much.
that, but
Well, I'm not. This is
it's also one of the last because guess what, everybody?
we
We
are
are going
to
to conclude the This Week in History podcast.
We are taking too many potential videos from the larger historic hindsight by This Week in History. So we'll do a year. I'll make it out to a year, but then we're going to be done. If you like week to week updates, go to Civil War in Hindsight.
Yeah, here's the thing.
I like that one. I'm really pushing that one.
Yeah, so Civil War in hindsight is great if you want to learn about the American Civil War, if you want to relive it, experience it, see what was going on during the
In the first
times,
Civil
and
War.
maybe, I don't know, make some comparisons between what's going on today, and
Yeah, why not?
then predict the future. We're not predicting the future. We're not saying anything's going to happen.
We're just
We are taking a week by week
the Civil
step
War.
into what was going on during the Civil War, and that is going to replace our This Week in History.
Yep,
After we
entirely.
can complete a full year.
We
of
will,
it.
we will still be doing obviously our weekly podcast with Historic Hindsight, where we talk about in drunken fashion shenanigans in history through all history, whether that's military or civilian or whatever. And give us ideas, give us likes, give us.
Yeah, if there's
know.
something you want to learn more about, something you want everybody else to know about, leave a comment. Let us know, and we'll see if it's something worth exploring. And that's This Week in History.